Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. It is Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday, Wednesday morning here at Film Fanatic headquarters at 10:37. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everybody has big plans for the big holiday. I usually just do the dinner thing at my folks. It's really nice, just kind of chill. I got a pile of movies here that I'm gonna be watching. So this will be fun. I'm gonna do a show on Thanksgiving tomorrow. I always do a seasonal show. I always do seasonal shows every year. I always do one for Christmas. I always do one, of course, for Halloween, which I did one just a little bit ago. And then I always do a show usually on Thanksgiving, and sometimes I think I've done shows on New Year's Eve, but usually I cover all three of those holidays because again, movies are tied to those movies, especially Halloween and especially Christmas. Thanksgiving, it's a little bit harder, but I have a lot of movie nostalgia tied to Thanksgiving. So tomorrow morning, or tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so tomorrow morning I'll do a video and make sure to upload it in time for the actual day of the feast. So, and otherwise, today at 4 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a guest slot on WRFR. It's a radio station in Rockland, Maine. That's very cool, kind of a grassroots radio station. I've been on the show a few times. I was on there probably about 6 or 7 months ago, give or take a month, and I was on Peter Patton's show, who is a great local personality. He's a super funny guy. He's a comedian. He's an actor. Real great all around guy. Real big supporter of the arts. He has a show every Wednesday, and the thing that he does, which he's been doing it for a few years now, which is a really great show, is he has a lot of local artists come on his show, a lot of musicians in the area to do interviews and to play music and all of those kinds of things. So 4 o'clock today, I'm going to be a guest on his show. I'm going to be on there for just under an hour, and going to be just talking about music and movies and on all those things. I will. I'm going to record the show for this channel and I'll upload it. I did a show, the show that I did with him about 6 or 7 months ago. I uploaded that, so it'll be fun. I got this year 2025 has been kind of crazy, but mostly good, and a lot of new things have happened. And so there's quite a bit to talk about. I want to talk a little bit more, maybe get into talking a little bit more about films this time and movie stuff, talking about this page, because I spent most of the time in my first interview with Peter was more music oriented. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited about that, and I'll be just talking about some things that have happened this year for what it's worth, and then some new things that are coming up that I'm really excited about. So speaking of which, this is another. I've been doing lots of videos lately on covering all of the incredible films of David Cronenberg. I've been trying to mix things up here on the channel, recording. I usually record a video every day. Lately, I've been kind of setting them up as premieres. So, just kind of mixing things up. And before I got back into I've been doing a lot of film videos again. I've been trying to work on covering all of the movies of David Cronenberg, and there's still quite a few. There's still a handful of movies left, so it's been really fun with this kind of new approach as far as like what movies I want to talk about, directors, and all those things, because there's so much to talk about. So, but before I kind of got back, or before I started this whole series on David Cronenberg, I was doing a lot of music videos. And music videos are not, or music oriented videos are not anything new for this channel. I've been kind of doing them for a while. One of the things I'm thinking about trying to do for this channel, which is something totally different, is doing like a video vlog, which is kind of like a journal, but in video form, and where it just kind of captures your everyday experiences, what you do. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a video like that. I've been watching Dave the Video Guy, who has this really cool YouTube channel. Well, I just recently discovered he's got an amazing collection of films, especially when it comes to the Criterion Films selection. He's a pretty awesome guy, and so I like his videos a lot. But he has these vlog videos with him and his wife, and they talk about just kind of their daily routines of what they do. Them going to the store, shoveling snow, watching the movies that they're watching, the TV shows they're watching, and then they talk about all the different platforms that people watch movies. It's really great, and they're really entertaining, and they're kind of insightful. They're a lot of fun, and I've never done a video vlog thing. I usually just kind of do these videos where I've experimented with some other video stuff, but I've never done a video vlog. So I'm thinking about trying that out, and I don't know, I might try it today. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, this is going to be exclusively a movie show. Sorry, a music show, because I'm really excited about this show coming up, and I've been listening to this music by this local artist, Travis Lloyd, a lot. I've been really checking him out, and honestly, I've been just kind of blown away by his music. So I want to do a show where I'm going to talk about the show that we have together, and then showcasing his music, because I just think it needs to be heard and listened to and purchased. So on December 19th, next month, we're going to be doing a show together at Hey Sailor, December 19th at 7 p.m. at Hey Sailor. And it's going to be with Quantum, and then also Travis Lloyd, who is kind of the guy I'm just totally into his music. He's a super cool guy. I've actually known him for a long time. And then for years, I kind of lost touch with him, and I didn't see him around. So I wanted to talk about him, my relationship with him, and also especially his music. He just put out a brand new album called Ferns, which is just phenomenal. All self-produced, self-made, locally made music. He is based out of Jackson, Maine, which is not too far from here. So pretty impressive stuff. So Travis Lloyd, he, as far as I can remember, going back 15 years, maybe even longer, as far as I've known, when I first met him or when I first saw him perform, he's always been doing music, as far as I know, and he's always had various different kinds of bands. But most of the time, I remember quite a few years ago, and this is going back many years ago, he had a band called the Travis Lloyd Band that was really kind of taken off here in Maine. They were playing a lot of gigs in Maine. They were playing a lot of gigs all around the mid-coast. And I remember seeing them play a bunch of times. And then he also had another band called The Rugged, which I think came after the Travis Lloyd Band. And The Rugged also was another real local band that was very popular. And then he had a band, I think, before that, which I don't remember the name of, and he was the guitar player in this band. And I think they were like kind of a touring band. They used to play out of state quite a bit. And I think the Rugged and I think the Travis Lloyd Band also at one point were starting to kind of play gigs outside of state. But locally, I remember going to see them a bunch of times, and it was always great, really fantastic. But they had a pretty big fan base, and I remember them, playing in various spots, outside venues, clubs, and bars. And I remember going to see them a bunch of times. And again, this was years ago. And I always loved Travis's stuff, Travis's music. Back then, it was more kind of rock based, more, it had a little bit of an Americana folk kind of vibe, but it was definitely rock based, definitely had an indie rock kind of vibe. So always loved his music, especially his songwriting. Just an amazing songwriter, really great guitar player, really great kind of stage presence, the whole package. And I remember meeting him during that time when I used to go see him play in his various bands. And he was always a cool guy, always hit it off. And I think there was one time where we actually got together. We never played music together really, but we did get together I think once or twice, and we did jam way back when with a mutual friend. But that was like ages ago. And so, fast forward about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, um, I kind of lost touch with the music he was doing, and I didn't really see him around in the area. And I don't think, I think the bands that he had at the time, the Travis Lloyd band and definitely the Rugged, had kind of more or less kind of parted ways or broken up. And so I didn't see him around for many, many years. And then like it was around 4 or 5 years ago, somebody had, I don't know who it was, but somebody had sent me some music of his, of an album that he had just recorded. And it was kind of during lockdown and during COVID. And it was this new record that he had been working on for a while and that he had just released on Bandcamp. And it really piqued my curiosity. And he put out, Travis Lloyd in 2023 had put out this record, I Just Want to Take You Dancing, which is an amazing album. And it's a totally different venture for Travis Lloyd as an artist and as a musician. It's essentially an electronica album, and it's killer. It's really really good. And I was kind of blown away when I heard this album, and it came out in 2023. And I remember, I think it was a mutual friend of mine that we had told me about the album, and I remember listening to it and really digging it, and I thought it was really cool. Totally different than anything else he had done. It was definitely very much in the electronic world. I was really excited, and I was like, "Wow, you never know like what people are into." Like I didn't know or didn't think that Travis was into this kind of music, and he put out this album. And there's a really cool write up on Bandcamp about how he was talking about how he did this album, in these kind of stages of where initially it was like this demo thing he was working on, this kind of ongoing project. And he said that growing up, he was really into a lot of electronic music and dance music. So he wanted to kind of try, throw his hat in the ring, if you will, in that world. And I was like, that's awesome. And it's killer. It's really, really good. And so that album came out in 2023, so a few years ago. So fast forward a few years later, and again during this whole time I hadn't really talked with Travis. I hadn't seen him in many years. Had not seen him perform in a long, long time. And I heard this new album that he had just put out, and I was like really excited. So then fast forward up until a few years until last year. It was where we did this quantum show where and before I get into that, like this, the past couple of years have been really great for our band with Quantum. Like we've been fortunate to be really really busy. This year was like super busy, and so and one of the things that's helped us a lot was we've been playing a lot. We played a lot of gigs the last couple of years at Hey Sailor, which is such an awesome venue in Searsport. I've played there with a bunch of other bands. With played there a lot with Osmia this year, but such a fabulous and amazing venue. And so we were fortunate the last few years to play a lot of gigs there. And so about 3 years ago, we put out our most recent album. I should say originally it was going to be a double album. In Dreams I Saw Chapter 1. And originally it was going to be, we recorded the album about 3 years ago, and we hadn't put out an album in a very long time. So we I had accumulated a whole bunch of new material, so we ended up, going in the studio, Mike Whitehead and I, and we ended up just recording all the tunes that we had. And by the time that we went to record all of the tracks, the tunes were pretty ready. We were fortunate leading up to the recording session to have played a lot of gigs, so the songs were, pretty tight, I think, and pretty ready to go. And we had rehearsed all the materials, so we went in over a period of like 2 weeks or 2 weekends and just kind of recorded all the tracks that we had. And we ended up having something like 20 some odd tunes. And so originally we were going to just release the whole thing as like a double album. But then I thought, well, maybe that's too much. And it was also the first time that I had done as Quantum. It was the first time I ever did like a more or less a concept album, which both albums really are. It's a concept album. It's kind of based more or less based on my experience in around COVID, more or less. That's what the whole album's really about. That's what both albums are about. And so I thought, okay, to release both or to release all the music in one album is going to be too much, too ambitious. So we decided to kind of split it up, and we decided to split the records into chapters. So about 3 years ago, we put out In Dreams I Saw Chapter 1, and then last year we put out the second chapter, In Dreams I Saw Chapter 2. And we had the first release party that we had it on Oak Street in Rockland, back when Oak Street was like the place to hang out. And I had my friend Ronnie, aka Enor, aka Sonic Wallpaper. He opened up for us, and that was really great. And then so last year we did the release show at Hey Sailor, and it was a really great time. We had my friend Halsey played also, and Ronnie also joined us again, and it was a really great time. And so it was exactly a year ago, and had some friends come out, and we got done playing, and somebody came up to me and tapped me on the back and said, "Oh, that was a really awesome show. Congratulations on the album and all these things." And I realized, oh wait, shit, it's Travis Lloyd. And I hadn't actually seen him in years, probably at least 7 years, like a long, long time. So it was crazy. So it took me a second to realize, oh wait, this is Travis Lloyd. So it was great that he had come out, and I was like really surprised to see him, and we kind of reconnected. And we ended up hanging out and talking that night. And then I think like it was a couple of weeks after that show, a mutual friend of ours that we both have had reached out to me and said, you know what? What I think is a really good idea would be I think you guys, you and Travis, meaning Quantum and Travis Lloyd, should do a show together, because she was saying, my friend Kelly, we have a mutual friend Kelly who actually has a background in working as a an agent in the music business. She used to book bands and is very very uh, you know very much steeped in the music world. She had this idea. She's like, Travis is working on this new album of all this new electronic music. She's like, I think this would be a really great billing of like have do a show with your band Quantum and have Travis play. And I was like, you know what, that is an awesome idea. And so a couple of weeks after we had that conversation, I reached out because I didn't have Travis's contact information. So I reached out to Kelly and I was like, hey, is there by any chance do you have like a number or something, some kind of contact info to Travis? So she gave me his number, and then that week I reached out to Travis saying, hey, thanks. It was great seeing you, weeks ago, and I really appreciate it, and really dig the electronic music, the album that you had put out prior, and I heard you're working on this new album of another batch of electronic music. Would you ever be into doing a show? Maybe I can put together a show at Hey Sailor for both of us. And he got back to me right away saying, yeah, definitely, I'd totally be down for it. And he said the only thing I'm totally into doing it, but the thing that's unfortunately I can't do a show now because I have to like figure out, build a set doing this solo electronic music live. Like I don't really have it set up to be able to perform it live. But then he also said, give me about 5 or 6 months to build a set, build this whole thing together. Get this whole thing, get like the act together to where I can perform the music. Give me about 5 or 6 months, and then I will reach out to you again, and then we can maybe go from there and set up a show. So I was like, great, awesome. So exactly 5 or 6 months passed, and Travis reached out to me, and he's like, hey man, I'm ready to go. I have a whole set ready. I can do all of this stuff live. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And I was like, fuck yes, that's awesome. And then he also said too, I just finished up and I'm about to release a brand new album entitled Ferns that I am, going to be putting out in like early November and or mid November, and we can maybe tie the show around kind of this release of this album, this launch of this new album. And I was like, that's an awesome idea. Like, that's fabulous. So I reached out to, and he sent me a link to this new album that was unreleased called Ferns. And I was blown away by it. Just blown away by it. And I'm like, it's just amazing. So I reached out to Hey Sailor and we were able to get a date. And then originally we were going to get a third act to play with this really awesome electronic artist that was based out of South Carolina, and it was going to be this big thing, but logistically and financially it wasn't really working out, so we had to we weren't able to do that with the third group. And then after that we were like, okay, Travis and I will just, we'll do the show with just the two of us. It should be fine, what have you. So then a week or two or a couple of weeks went by, and some scheduling conflict came up, as they do when you're, booking gigs or working with bands. A scheduling conflict came up. So then we had to change the date, and we moved the date to the 19th of December. And so everything is squared away. Really excited. The show's going to start at 7 o'clock. So the last few days, the last two or 3 days, I have been really listening a lot to this new record, Ferns, and it's on Bandcamp. It's on a bunch of streaming platforms. Bandcamp's the best. And Travis Lloyd has a YouTube channel, and he's been putting out these live videos of him performing the songs live, and it's like absolutely spectacular. I've been listening to the stuff constantly the last 24 hours. I've been taking a deep dive and listening to the record. It's just phenomenal. And it was Yeah, I mean, just incredible. I can't recommend this stuff enough. It's a real interesting sound too. It's like it reminds me of. It's definitely electronic based, but he is such an amazing songwriter, and he's got such an incredible singing voice. Unbelievable. Some of the influences, and again, I could be off, but some of the things that I hear in it are really diverse. Like I hear influences of um, like solo Tom York. I hear influences of the Joy Division. I hear influences of the National. Um, really cool stuff. Really, really, really cool stuff. Beautiful,
Empowering.
haunting. There's a really cool juxtaposition in his music where the music is kind of dark, kind of heartbreaking, but yet it's also very uplifting and like this feeling of like fulfillment, even though there's like this kind of like tragedy going on. And that's the vibe that I get. Like I kind of feel like a lot of these songs are kind of like breakup songs, but they're deep and they're not like they're from like a real adult perspective, but yet there's a feeling of, and they're not like cliche things of like how those things are expressed. There's not those like typical like breakup trope songs, or things that like happen for, when you have somebody who sings like a song about his girlfriend breaking up with him or his wife leaving him or vice versa. It's got a real interesting fresh approach. It's got a deeper kind of humanistic kind of thing to it. And but yet there's the tragedy of that and coming to terms with that, but then there's also this like real uplifting kind of feeling of you're going to get through these things. It's real interesting. It's a real cool juxtaposition. Beautiful melodies, really great production, amazing. And I've been listening and watching these videos that he has on his YouTube channel that are just phenomenal. And the thing that's really cool and interesting is that the studio versions of these songs are quite a bit different from the live recording. So I cannot wait to hear the to see him live because the studio stuff is amazing, but I kind of like the energy of the live stuff a little bit more just because it's a little bit more raw and just evocative. I don't know. It's just got this extra layer of rawness to it. Incredible. So I'm like really, really excited for the show. I'm trying to, even though we got some time, the show's a little ways away, but I'm trying to do a little bit. I'm definitely going to do extra promotion for this show and talking about Travis's music. And so this show is about this new record and the show coming up at Hey Sailor. Travis is just a tremendous talent. I mean, he's based in Jackson, Maine. He did this whole record, Ferns, that just came out. It's on Bandcamp. Totally self-produced. He wrote all the music, did all the production, recorded it. I mean, it's crazy, and he did it all in his house. And the sound, the production side, just on the production side of things, it's amazing, and it's truly like kind of this haunting, but yet hopeful experience listening to this record. It really is. There's like this thing too where there's like, because when people go through breakups or they go through loss or they go through these stages of grief, one of the things that always happens is that you feel that sense of loneliness or that sense of isolation, which is a normal thing. And it doesn't have to be about breakups. It can be about you losing someone, that you're close to, or just or big transitions that are kind of earth shaking or shattering to your life. You know, there's a grieving process that you go through, and a lot of the times, which is a natural occurrence, is that there's this sense of, well, a little bit of desperation, but then there's a sense of isolation and that you're alone in feeling this way. And the thing that's so powerful that I get, I mean, again, this might not be what he was thinking, but the thing that I get so strongly from his music, especially on some of these tracks from his new record, Ferns, is that there you get this feeling that okay, you're that sense of isolation when you're in that grieving process, that you're not really alone. Like it is this universal thing. There are people who are. It is this shared experience, and so there's solace in that. And I feel like that's how this journey of listening to this record gives this like this. It's got this darkness to it, but there is this like underlining kind of sense of light and hope. So it's really beautiful. I'm a huge fan of just in general films, music, art. When there's a juxtaposition of things, because I feel like when an artist kind of can explore those areas, it gives it more of a human quality because life is that way. I think life is about the beautiful things, and then the things that give you a sense of like this sublime feeling or euphoric feeling. But then there's also very melancholy experiences, or even and then sadness and tragedy. So it's about all of those experiences. So I love when music really kind of thrives by kind of showing that collective experience, because it is a collective thing as being a human being. So tremendous, tremendous record, Fern. So I've been posting. I posted a video of the title track, that's live version, and so this is a special video just promoting the show coming up next month at Hey Sailor with Travis, and especially just wanting to promote his music as much as I can. So thanks again, and hopefully we will see you December 19th at Hey Sailor at 7 o'clock. Peace.